just at a cursory glance, it takes money and power away from Washington and sends it back to the individual. I also think it's a rather brilliant maneuver by Donald Trump. American politics is really about getting people's attention, then making an argument. Over the last several months, he's been working to get people's attention. Now he's making an argument. He came out with an immigration proposal. Now he's come out with a tax proposal.
Reagan biographer Craig Shirley on this program earlier this week saying there are Reagan-esque qualities to Donald Trump's tax plan. Says particularly the aspect that this plan could bring power back to the individual. Now, according to the latest poll, Republican voters still back Trump. This poll from USA Today and Suffolk University shows the Donald with a 10-point lead over Carly Fiorina and Ben Carson, who are both tied for second place. For more on all this, we are pleased to be joined via Skype by Republican strategist and Georgetown University professor Brad Blakeman, and also joining us via Skype, the chief economist for the Heritage Foundation, Stephen Moore. Stephen is also the co-author of the new book, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of States, How Taxes, Energy, and Worker Freedom Change Everything. Stephen Moore, first to you. Does Trump's tax plan change everything for the better?
Well, it sure is. It sure would make the country better if we had something like the Trump program. And by the way, JD, that kind of exciting thing for me as an old Reaganite supply sider is to see almost all these Republican candidates coming out for, very significant reductions in tax rates, broadening of the base, trying to make our businesses more competitive in the global economy. I'm a little biased because I helped Rand Paul write his flat tax, but basically there's not that big of a difference between the Republicans on taxes. They're all talking about bringing rates down and making America more competitive. We can't go forward any longer, JD, with the highest business tax in the world. Donald Trump is right. That's what's exporting our jobs out of America.
What about it, Brad Blakeman? Do you agree the Trump plan is Reagan-esque?
I think there are a lot of good things in this plan. There's some things I disagree with. There's no federal tax on individuals earning $25,000 or less, or couples making less than $50,000. I think everybody needs to pay something in America. I love the fact that the top rates drop from 39.6 to 25%. I like the fact that the corporate tax rate goes from 35 to 15. I like the elimination of the carried interest loophole. I think that's great, but I'd also like to see capital gains across the board reduced or eliminated. The same with the estate tax, which Trump is for. So there are a lot of good things in here. I'm more for Steve's flat tax, to tell you the truth. I want to scrap the entire code, because that's something that Trump said he would do.
All right. Well, let's go back to something you criticized. And, Stephen, this is on a lot of people's minds, the notion that a good chunk of America would pay no income tax. There's a concern that that would enhance a notion of entitlement or people looking for goodies. Do you share that concern?
Yeah, I do. If you look under the Trump plan, and I agree with Brad, that, the one big drawback of this plan is 70 million households, according to Trump's numbers, if we can believe those, would not pay any income tax. Now, he sees that as an asset. I see that as a liability. I think everybody should pay some tax, even if it's just a little bit, And by the way, the guy I kind of like on this, who I think has a very good message, is Ben Carson. You recall JD in the debate, when he talked about a tithing tax, 10 or 15%. So you make $1 million a year, JD, so you're going to pay $100,000 tax. I make $10,000 a year, so I'm going to pay $1,000 of tax. I think people regard that kind of system as fair because everybody pays the same percentage.
And we should note for the record, Stephen was offering a hypothetical.
No,
he didn't get exactly to my salary right there. Now that I'm back in the private sector, well, it sounds like this is a veritable love fest. But you know what's interesting, Brad Blakeman? We had pollster John Zogby on the other day, and of course, he really doesn't have letters across his chest that read GOP, and he was saying, I love this plan. Are some conservatives skeptical because Trump is able to reach across the aisle to Democrats and independents with features of the plan?
Well, Trump was smart. He came out with a broad-based plan that had a little something for everybody, and he started another debate, important debate. He started the first one on immigration. Now we have this one on taxes. And people expected a wild-eyed plan, and that's not what they got with Trump. his rhetoric is more, acerbic than his actual policy. So that's been very refreshing for Trump, and I think a good thing to do.
And again, as those poll numbers show us, apparently there's a Trump bump in the wake of this tax plan as he checks in at 23%, with Carly and Dr. Ben 10 points behind at 13 percentage points each. Gentlemen, we thank you very much. Stephen Moore at the Heritage Foundation and Brad Blakeman from his undisclosed location in Washington, D.C. Guys, thanks very, very much for your time. And how about that? A veritable love fest for virtually every Republican candidate, including the Donald, on that tax plan. Coming up next, more of my exclusive interview with Ohio Governor and Republican presidential candidate John Kasich. We're going to talk Obamacare and getting rid of it right after this.